Hey, this is Jason Kanigan back with another anti-social media vlog. I hate shaving. I haven't shaved in a couple days, and that's actually more like 4 days. That's an advantage of working from home and doing a lot of stuff over the internet and not having to actually meet people face to face a lot of the time. Which is actually one of the big reasons why I started helping out a couple of technical friends of mine with the Coastal Carolina Network and the TV show Secrets of Coastal Chefs, which I'm a producer for, because that would get me out of the house and involve more in the local economy. So I use a safety razor, which is actually, I'll bring it in for another edition of this vlog in the future. It's a single blade, and you buy the razor. It's got a special screw-on handle and that kind of thing. It's a fancy little thing. But I actually shaved with an electric razor until I was 30. My parents gave me one of those when I was 15 years old, and that's what I stuck with. So I actually came to, I guess, hand shaving, you might call it, fairly late in life. And I got one of those fusion things with the multiple blades and that. And I realized pretty early on that these things aren't really doing anything for me. They're a marketing gimmick, and they're to sell more blades. And so that's my rant for today. If you don't know that those fusion things are simply there to sell you more blades, it's a marketing gimmick, now you know, okay? You only need one blade. So I had skin irritation from it and that kind of thing, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So I did some research and I found out about single blade safety razors. And there's a lot of YouTube videos of guys actually shaving themselves with these safety razors, and it's kind of funny to watch. But you know, if you're interested in it, you're interested in it, just like anything else, right? And so good content wins out, and I went out and bought. You got to buy a badger hair brush, which is about $50 by itself, put together in England. Some shaving soap, which is not this shaving cream you spray out of a bottle or anything like that. You got to mix it up with water and put it on with the brush, which is kind of a pain. And the actual handle, that's probably the most expensive thing. You're probably going to spend $75, $100. So you can buy a cheap one at Walmart. I noticed the Rick from Pawn Stars has his own branded product out there now that he's endorsed, and it's pretty funny because it's just a simple safety razor, but he's marketing it as if it's this brand new thing. And, no, it's not a brand new thing, but hey, you know, it can get you into the spirit of it for $20, I guess, or something like that. And then you got to buy razors that last forever. I'm still on my first box, and I bought mine back in May or June or something like that. So we'll have a look at that in a future episode. But I put off shaving because I just don't like it, and it eats up a ton of time, and I just would rather spend, it's probably 15 minutes, but I'd just rather spend the 15 minutes doing something else, you know? So I end up being a little bit lazy about shaving. All right. I wanted to talk to you today about a bunch of things. The first thing is new kind of light bulb. This is, I guess, a halogen bulb, but it is better than that. Brian Ridgway turned me on to these. It's called an OTT Lite. OTT. Look it up on Amazon. You can buy them on Amazon. They're not cheap, but they last a long time. In this room, and that's why I have this huge shadow behind me, I think I've got a 27 or 20 watt one or something like that. So it's very, very bright. And the deal with these OTT lights is that they project light in the sunlight spectrum. So it's a very bright white light, but not as harsh as the typical halogen lights, and they're supposed to make you smarter. What I can tell you is when this light is on, I am awake. I don't care if it's 2:30 in the morning, I am wide awake and alert. It has given me a noticeable perception of feeling more alert when it's on. Anyway, I also have a little incandescent one over here on a side table that I use, and that's a little 30 watt incandescent, but I use that just for pleasant low light in the evening. So check these out. They're gonna be, I don't know, $15 or something like that for a bulb. They last quite a while. I've had this one since 6 months ago at least, and it's still going strong. And I've got one in my kitchen as well. But be careful on the wattage. Definitely go for the 15 watter or something like that. You want the lower one because they are much brighter. I bought my first one. I thought, oh, I better get the higher wattage one, and it was way too bright, and I put that down in my kitchen. This is something that I never thought about before, even though I trained martial arts for 4 years and have done a couple of other things since, where I was in Kung Fu, and then I did traditional Korean Taekwondo, which is nothing like the American sport. What this is a tactical pen, and I never heard of this before. I bought a course that was linked to by somebody on Facebook, and it was the Spy Escape and Evasion course, and that guy turned up on Shark Tank. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, okay, did I buy it before or after? I think I bought it a little bit after he appeared on Shark Tank and partnered up with one of the sharks. So that was kind of a cool connection. So a tactical pen, it can unscrew, and it does have an actual pen here, but the deal with this thing is it's a self-defense item. It's got, this is not particularly sharp, but as you know, pressure is force over distance, and this space at the end of the tip here, while it's not sharpened to a point, is still pretty small, and so you could poke somebody with it. It's also solid steel here, so if you had to deflect something like a knife blade, it would give you a chance anyway. And the idea the Spy Escape and Evasion guy was saying was carry this around, and if you get stuck in an elevator with an unsavory character or something like that, you can just bring this out and maybe poke the elevator button with it or something like that, and show them that you're not going to be an easy target. That was something that I took away from that. So I decided to get one of these. This is a Smith & Wesson version, I think around 20 bucks. Interesting investment. You know, is it going to give you more security? I don't know. It will probably make you feel better if you're walking around with it, and it's got to be somewhere accessible, obviously. You can't stick it in the bottom of your purse or bottom of a pocket and expect to pull this thing out in time. But if you have it handy, I think it's a pretty good idea. I don't carry it around with me all the time because I try and be alert, which is the major thing that you're supposed to be in self-defense situations. You know, if you're walking down the street and your attention's on your iPhone or something like that, you make a much better target. So that's something to be aware of. Be alert when you're walking around. Don't be a victim. And consider getting one of these. This is not the only one, of course. Smith & Wesson makes several different versions, and obviously different manufacturers make them as well. This is a book that I got some time ago. It's called Warday. I still haven't finished it yet, as you can see, but I've read about 2/3 of it. It's a very curious book. It was written in the 80s by a pair of guys who actually inserted themselves into the narrative, and it's done in a sort of documentary style. It's about what happened when the USSR and the USA at that time period went to nuclear war for about half an hour and bombed each other's countries into oblivion. And obviously some of the people are going to survive, and this is their story. They're all irradiated. They're going to probably die of radiation poisoning sooner or later. And it gets into, it's very realistic. Like many politicians in that at the time read this book, and I think it's worth reading because we're still not exempt from nuclear damage. You know, we maybe think that because the USSR is gone and there's no more superpower adversary and that kind of a thing that we're safer. I don't think we're safer at all. There's tons of nuclear weapons from the former Soviet Union that are unaccounted for and up for sale and things like that. So one of these bombs could go off, or several. And this book is pretty realistic about the damage that's done and what it's like. And they basically pretend that they're enterprising reporters and travel around to check things out, in different parts of what was the United States. And so check this out if you're interested in that kind of a topic. The final thing I want to cover is a cool piece of technology. Last year I bought a Google Nexus 7. It was the 2013 model, so I got it for $150 or something like that. Really good price. It had the best screen, the real HD screen, and I'd never used a tablet before, and I was wondering, do I really need this? Do I really want it? Well, this thing has turned into my television set. I have a 27-inch monitor right in front of me here, which is what I look at to see what's going on with the camera. And I don't use that beyond, surfing the web and that. To watch Netflix or something like that, I use this puppy a lot. And I got kind of tired of holding it, even though it's really lightweight. So I got this stand from Amazon, and I'll link to this in the description. This is the coolest thing ever. It looks like it's made of metal, but it's actually plastic. It's branded by Amazon. It's super cheap. I think it's 12 bucks. And it enables you to, I mean, it packs up small. That'll fit in any carrying case. But it enables you to put any tablet in any arrangement in here and be able to sit it up and watch it. And one of the things that I really like about it is that it's kind of sticky. Like I can turn the the tablet quite far, or the stand quite far, and it won't fall out. You know, there's a bit of friction going on there. So not that that's, you know, how do you watch it? Normally you just sit it down somewhere, but this thing is really cool. I've enjoyed having it a lot. It has made my watching or viewing experience much better. You can put it in this way as well if you like, and have it stand up. So very, very flexible, customizable piece of equipment, and well worth the very low investment. And remember, it's something that people forget about is that these things are all expenses, all of them. If they are helping you with your business, are you watching something on that screen on your tablet that's going to help you, a training video or a YouTube video or something like that that's instructional? It's an expense. View to a profit, that's the phrase. Does it give you a view to a profit? All right, so we covered the Lite, the Smith & Wesson Tactical Pen, interesting little piece of equipment, Warday, and our famous Amazon tablet stand, which I'll link to in the description. I'll link to all these things down there, and you can check them out if you like. These are things that have definitely made, you know, definitely this thing has made a very big difference in my at least perceived productivity and life enjoyment. All right, thanks for watching.